Liverpool going into this season, new captain, Virgil van Dijk. He wore the armband with Liverpool 8 times last season. Alexander-Arnold succeeds Milner, who's gone to Brighton, of course, as the vice-captain. Number one, is that the right decision in your view? Would you have said, Virgil, step up, here's the armband?
I think it's the obvious decision in that he's been wearing the armband when Jordan Henderson or James Milner wasn't there. So it was a no-brainer in that respect. He's obviously a huge presence. Players respect him, look up to him. Super talent. Yeah, it was a pretty obvious one. The only person... I talked about this with Bentley on Monday, but we didn't go into alternatives.
Robertson?
Yeah. I think Robbo was the obvious choice that springs to mind. You see, for me, you always want a captain who's going to be playing. And someone who's going to be part of your future plans. And there's very few better left-backs in Europe than Robbo.
Yeah.
And I love his fire. Now, Jurgen Klopp might be thinking the captaincy with Robbo might add fuel to that fire and make him even more temperamental, but I don't think so. I think it'd probably do the opposite and make him calm down a little bit more at times. And I also think it could be positive for Virgil in that he'll take this on board and have to be a bit more... what's the word? He'll have to show his leadership more with the other players, galvanise them a bit more and dictate a bit more and know when to give a rollicking and when to help others around him. I think his wisdom is there now. He's been in the Liverpool team a long time, so he knows what he can and can't do himself. He's now in a position where he should be able to help others around him and organise and kick up the back like Jordan did.
He does, but he didn't have the best season last season.
I was just about to say that.
Does it heap more pressure on him?
I think he's the type who'll kick on from it. Do you know what? Funnily enough, we had a brilliant centre half of Liverpool who you remember was there for years, Sami Hyypiä.
Oh, yeah.
What a wonderful talent. And reminds me of Virgil in some ways. You know, that super calmness, great aerial presence. And the captaincy got to him. They ended up taking it off him and giving it to Stevie G at a really young age, if you recall. And I think they did that because they felt it was affecting him, his performances. So that can happen, whereas it galvanised Stevie. I don't think Van Dijk will wear it as a burden. I think it'll take him on. I think it'll kick him on.
Do you think he's affected Maguire at Manchester United?
Yep.
Is that part of his issue?
Well, I said the beginning of last season, it would have been the best move if Maguire take the armband off him, let him play, because he's a good player. You know, the captaincy of Man United is a huge, huge burden if you're not somebody who's that way inclined. He's not a brilliant communicator, although he's a good lad and a great pro. You know, trains are supposed to be a really good trainer, really good leader in that. No, talking about Maguire.
Oh, Maguire.
I don't think it helped him having the armband. It just heaped more pressure on him.
Yeah,
he became the scapegoat. You know, and then up for interviews when no one else would talk. So back to Liverpool, I think it makes sense for Van Dijk, but it certainly wouldn't have surprised me and it wouldn't have worried me to have Robbo as a captain.
But he's got the attributes, Van Dijk. That's what you're saying.
I think he needs to get a bit more angry and aggressive at times and that forceful physicality that he should have more of.
Yeah.
I know he's calm and there's something great about calmness being a leader and a captain, but...
I mean, it's not him to get angry, is it? He doesn't really...
I don't mean angry where it's detriment to... passionate with other players, demanding more from them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Is the role of a modern-day Premier League captain any more than a ceremonial one, though? Because you don't get your Roy Keanes and your Steven Gerrards anymore. And all the Premier League clubs, certainly the big clubs, have got leadership groups now. So Liverpool will have Van Dijk and Robertson will be part of that group. Trent Alexander-Arnold is part of that group. Spurs have got a leadership group as well.
I think a good captain can really make a difference.
Still?
Yeah.
And the right
Who's
captain.
the best captain in the Premier League?
Great question. Great question.
Best captain in the Premier League. Well, you'd have to...
I must rush you.
I think Henderson for the last few years has been probably the best example.
Trippier hasn't been bad at Newcastle.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
But it's only his first year.